Hey you guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going through the team's best 11 for all BBL SuperCoach, just BBL sides in general. I know I did this about a month ago, about 4 weeks ago, but a lot has changed. We've had, I would hazard a guess, probably another 10 to 15 guys have withdrawn, etc. Or are more injured, I guess, in a way. So yeah, there's been a lot more injuries to the point that most sides here, just looking quickly at it, are down to three or four guys on the bench in their sort of reserve spot. So yeah, even some teams down to two. But yeah, so a lot of teams are down to the bare bones of their squads at the moment, and are probably in need of an all-rounder or two, given that a lot of teams basically are just relying on their all-rounders to stay fit. But anyway, let's just jump into this video here. So, Adelaide strikers, Matt Short, Darcy Short, Christine Weatherall, they're probably one of the teams that has stayed the most healthy. Actually, scratch that. The problem with them at the moment is that Doggett's in the national setup at the moment, and I didn't realise till today that he's 30. I thought he was more like 26. And they have Buckingham, who's supposed to be back for round one, but we don't know exactly yet if he's going to be back. So Brendan Doggett and also Jordan Buckingham out at the moment, which means that Baisley's probably the one that has to come in, and that's with Fabian Allen in here. If Fabian Allen isn't available, if he gets selected, because we've had the ODI team selection, and that selection had Hope and... let me actually just check. I can go through here. I can go to Honeyball and check that, because they did, they put up a post about this yesterday. Bad news. Yeah, the Maxwell we'll get to. Here we go. Not selected in the Wendy's ODI squad, but selection for the T20 squad, the 15 to the 19 still to come. Hope and Rutherford named for ODIs, Hussein expected for the T20s. And that could mean Fabian Allen gets away with it, and that's sort of what I'm projecting at the moment. But if Fabian Allen if selected for the T20s, that means that Lloyd Pope, I believe, comes in. Harry Nielsen bats 7, making him slightly more viable. Still a no. But that would mean that they're down to Baisley and Kelly. I think Kelly doesn't get in because Ross, Weatherall is on fire at the moment in domestic, and Ross is sort of just filling that role that I think he's just better than Kelly, simply put. But that would put us down to only having 2 spare for Adelaide. And that's not a good place to be in, especially with this decision here, which could put Baisley into the spotlight if Doggett is held over because Hazelwood isn't fit, and Buckingham still could potentially be injured, but he looks likely for round one, is what I've heard, the latest news I've heard. So this basically puts it, if we just do this, and we were to say, let's just do this, Jordan, Buckingham, and then Brendan. I might have spelt Doggett wrong. Nope, didn't. There we go. Buckingham, if we say that he's going to be available, this will be the side that I expect him to play out. If Fabian Allen is therefore named in the T20 squad, then I can just do Harry Nielsen to there, then Lloyd Pope to there. Honestly, I don't really care about the side in terms of their in terms of the batting order for the lower down guys, but that would put him at this potentially. This is what it could look like if Doggett is held over. If Hazelwood is injured still for the Gabba or something, the Gabba he's going to be. Let's actually check this. Josh Hazelwood's fitness. Let's just check. Would be fit for Boxing Day. He's going to be fit for Boxing Day. That opens up, because they play at the Gabba on the 14th to the 18th, remember. This is like, it was hard to remember last month when we already were like a month in advance. But now he's not going to be available for the Gabba. So that means that they're going to have to hold over one of Doggett or Abbott for the Gabba test, I would suspect. Do they sort of go in turns and go, yep, no, over the days, etc., so that they can play T20 like the BBL? I don't think so. So that means I suspect Doggett will get held over for and Buckingham has to play, or Baisley has to play if Buckingham is injured. So they might be down to only one guy on the bench. Moving over to Brisbane, because I do want this video to get out and not be 45 minutes long. They're relatively easy to project, I would say. And the only one that I don't know what they're going to do is are they going to play Wood or Presswich? Because Presswich can hold the willow compared to Vidler. I would think that it's a battle between them for the number 7 spot, effectively. Simple as that. They're both fit at the moment. They're both playing, I believe. So it's a pretty simple, that'll be a pretty simple selection, I'm pretty sure, between those two guys there. I'm just going to check Jack Wood and see how he's been going. In terms of playing, he would be, I'm guessing, that's not the right Jack Wood. This guy. I want this Jack Wood. Nope, that's not the right Jack Wood. Yeah, it's hard to find Jack Wood. Maybe it's this one. Nope, that's older. Where is Jack Wood? So yeah, and then Will Presswich, I'll just check quickly about that, and I'll look up Jack Wood's stats, etc. when I find which club he's at, and give you a better representation of it. But Will Presswich, I'm pretty sure is playing down in Tassie at the moment in 24-25, and he's averaging 33 with the bat, and 22 with the ball for 14 wickets and 432 runs. So he could be really good in terms of in that place of Jack Wood. And Callum Vidler, I don't think will get a selection spot unless I'm surprised Spencer Johnson or Xavier Bartlett didn't get called up to the national squad, to be honest, as cover, but maybe they just did it because they don't believe that they'll necessarily play, and they just wanted to have these guys actually playing cricket, I guess, in a sense, rather than just sort of not playing at all. So Vidler, I think, is he injured? He could be injured. Is Vidler really injured? Hasn't, let's just check his bowling, because his bowling is going to be the best way to figure this out. He last bowled on November 16th, and that was the only game he bowled, and he plays for Valley Men's. So let's quickly check this again. In Queensland, men's first, they had a washout in round 10, and then in round 11, did they have another washout? They might have had another washout they had a washout most recently, and then the round before that was so he, I don't think, has actually bowled anywhere recently, because I think they had a double washout. Yeah, they had a double washout, so he's bowling, but barely back to bowling, it sounds like, just from what I've seen, given that they're like 10 weeks into the season and he's bowled once. So I would be a little bit, so I'm leaning more towards Presswich being like there. Obviously I said that before, but Presswich being almost a coverage for any bowler, and also in contention for the Jack Wood spot. So that's pretty much the Brisbane squad. Hobart, you'll see here, this is the most chaos one. I know that they named something with Hobart about they said someone was signing for Hobart. Wakius, this is the guy that I need. There we go. That's the guy that I need here. And we will make this text color. Nope, that's fine. We need this to that color there. Then we need it bolded. No, not bolded. We don't need it bolded. Then we need it just centered there. So that's the guy that they signed. So we figure that out. And I believe he's there for the first, is it 6 rounds or something like that? I don't think it's too many, to be honest with you. So let's just check this. Hurricane sign, this guy. Let's just see. Where was it? He will be joining, CPL, etc. I don't know when he's available too. I need to do more research about this. I sort of just knew they had signed someone, but it wasn't made official, and I didn't know the exact timeline. But basically their squad is probably the easiest to pick, simply put. Easiest to select, because Meredith, Hatzoglu, Dooley, Ellis and Jordan are obvious, as well as Chowdhury, Tim David. So it basically comes down to, where are they going to put? Are they going to put Charlie Wakeham in, or are they going to put Mitch Owen in? I suspect, given that they've got Chowdhury as well as David that can roll it over, I think they're going to go for more of the batter, the full-time batter, than the sort of batting all-rounder. Because they already have 5 guys here, I think. Is that 5? Yeah, they've got 5, plus Chowdhury 6, plus Tim David can roll the arm over, so they don't need another bowler. So I suspect it will be Wakeham until Shea Hope is back. It would have been Mac Wright, but I'm pretty sure he's out for the whole tournament given ACL recovery. So there's that. Melbourne Renegades. This squad is the biggest what in the world is going on. And I'll simply put, because we don't know about Sutherland. I've tried to look around, search around, even ask a lot of the BBL content creators, whether that be just YouTube ones as well as guys that are heavily on Twitter. No one knows. We haven't had an update since mid-November about Sutho, other than he'll test it out in the trial games. Now, given their squad depth, that's an issue, because we've said again, Harry Dixon could come in, which at 7 or whatever would be interesting. He's rolled his arm over in the North T20 comp. We've also said that Gurinder Sandhu could come in, but that would mean Tom Rogers and probably Fergus O'Neill become even better prospects. And also, with respect to Kane Richardson, he's played like 6 or 7 games. Like, he has played, but he's getting older. He may not play back-to-back games or games that are covered by, what do we say, BBL SuperCoach here. Let me just quickly go to here, and I'll go to the schedule here. You'll see round 1 they play on the 16th and 19th, and they play in round 4 on the 30th and 2nd. So there's not much gap there. There's only a couple of days gap there between a lot of their games. And then in round 5, they also play on the 4th. So they go 30th, 2nd, 4th. That's what, 30th, 31st, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. That is 3 games in 6 days. I don't think he plays all 3, to be honest with you. And he's not even bowling that well. So they need to find someone else here. And Lyon's not going to be available by then. Luckily, they do get Bethel back by then, which should help out the issue. That they have another spinner, they have another player there at least. They'll go in with... they could probably then get away with going in without Will Sutherland and going in with Gurinder Sandhu there and Bethel in this slot here, even though I think Bethel would go up to 5. But yeah, Mackenzie Harvey's going to play now because they need to play him, because I don't think they're going to play Harry Dixon over him. So we move on to the Melbourne Stars. I suspect, given Mitchell Marsh's comments, that Bo Webster will be set back and available because they'll just have Inglis as cover. Yes, it means that they may need to bowl more of Marnus, which will be infuriating to watch with the pink ball, if it does happen. With the red ball, because they'll be at the Gabba. But it is what it is, and I think that they'll just have Josh Inglis as cover. So Bo Webster's back there, which is good. Unless they drop Marnus at this point, but then again, they'll just keep Marnus in the squad, I think, and he'll be the covering batsman rather than Webster. So you'd need potentially an injury and Marnus still out of form, an injury to a non-Marnus batter just to hold Webster or in the test squad. Glenn Maxwell, we haven't heard anything, much like the same with the Will Sutherland news. Haven't heard anything with him, but I suspect he'll be available. Then obviously you have Duckett, Mir, and then Boland. He will be out he will be held over or out playing there for Australia, so he will just not be available. Given the injuries to the players, that I suspect they're going to hold him over the Boxing Day test match and not release him, given Hazelwood is a test for Boxing Day, as well as Stark will have already played 3 test matches. Will he play the 4th one in a row? I don't know if he necessarily will, given it's Boxing Day, so they may play Boland instead of Stark there and give him a rest. So that's sort of my theory there. So we're just waiting on Maxwell here. If Maxwell isn't playing, they'll go Campbell Kellaway, I suspect, and Kellaway will bat 5 or 6. Sort of Stoinis goes up 1, Cartwright might go up 1, stay there. And at that point also, they also have Duckett coming into the side, who will just straight up replace Joe Clark. So that's a simple swap. Doesn't mean that anything in the order changes. And yeah, there's that. They could also go with Stoinis up and Rogers out of the side, etc. But I don't think they will, given that they have almost more chaos with Maxwell potentially being out. But yeah, I do start to like Stoinis a lot more if Maxwell is out. Perth, probably one of the easier squads to sort of telegraph given all the injuries if we just take them as out. This top four is pretty easy. Hurst, Hardy, Allen, Jennings. I suspect, as I said, that Webster will be the one that doesn't, and with all the sort of chaos that's happened, and also with Marnus out of form, I suspect that they will hold Inglis because he's a damn chance at the Gabba to play if Marnus is so out of form. Still, he's averaging like 13.5 in his last 5 test matches. So I think that they will hold Inglis. I think also they do need to hold a batter. I don't think they can go in with just 12 players at the Gabba. Like, I don't think they'll go in with a domestic non-BBL player as the concussion sub. I don't think they'll do that. So that's why I think that they'll hold Inglis. So you got, Finn Allen, Aaron Hardy, etc. Matt Hurst. Hobson at 5 now with the Turner injury. Turner's in a race to fill round 1, but this is sort of just the squad at the moment. Fanning 6, Spores 7. Fanning comes in because the other 2 non-injury players, non-injury reserve players are Beardman and Kelly. They're both bowlers. Jai Richardson appears fit at the moment, but his shoulder could literally pull itself out of its socket on a celebration. Andrew Ty, he looks good as well, both bat and ball. If you look up on Play Cricket, his stats, he's actually performing really, really well. I know it's club prem cricket, but then again, he's a bowler and he's averaging, I think, in the mid-20s with the blade as well. So he's averaging 16.3. If we go to this and we go to men's prem T20s, he's averaging 17 with the blade in T20s in 2 games, and then with the ball, he's got 2 for 20, 1 for 32, so that's 3 for 50, 3 for 52, so 5 for 94 in 12 overs. That's actually pretty good in 3 games. 5 for 94. You'd suspect that would have potentially, so that's already 100 points. He's looking at averaging about 50, 55 at least in Prem T20 cricket, at least. So that's on point with what he's doing at the moment. And that's, so he's doing really well there. Berendorf and Morris, you sort of expect this. So they've got the 5 bowlers there. They've got the 4 quicks, Spores and Hardy. So that's sort of the 5th bowling option between Spores and Hardy. They've got enough bowling there as well to cover that as well. So I'm pretty happy with that lineup, to be honest with you, given that Mitch Marsh will be out. Josh Inglis, I suspect, will be out. Cooper Connolly and Ashton Agar, I suspect, are more in line for their round 2 double, to be honest, than starting. Then we move over to Sydney Sixers. And Philippe Vince and Henriquez and Silk are obvious selections, as well as I suspect Abe Abbott is the one that they let go of if they let go of someone, but he could also be out, which could lend the way towards them selecting a Curtis Patterson here, and then Curtis Patterson bats 3, and then you put in Edwards. You're effectively putting Edwards down to 6, Kerr down to 7, and Joel Davies down to 8, which Joel Davies will return for. Hussain will replace Davies at that point in round 2. So then you have that. You also have Daniel Hughes still out, but when Daniel Hughes returns, then I suspect that... Who is he going to replace, to be honest with you? Does he replace... he'll just straight up replace the Curtis Patterson selection if Abbott is just held over indefinitely. But that'll wait for Hazelwood's fitness to return. The Sydney Sixers 11 is pretty obvious at this point, as I think that... I think Joel Davies gets the nod over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think Henriquez will bowl, so that means that they'll have 6 bowlers plus Davies, 7, who also is a really capable bat in form, but also you have to suspect that they may go with Curtis Patterson and drop them all down 1, which could happen. With Hayden Kerr's also back bowling in Prem Cricket, so he's fine. Jack Edwards isn't in the greatest amount of form at the moment, so that's probably why you want to give him a miss, and potentially with Sean Abbott being potentially also held over. I think it will be Joggett, but it could be that it gets held over in the start. That could also be a miss there. So it's the Sydney Sixers a lot of their lineup is sort of mainstay. Obviously, you have Chohan that could play over Murphy. I just have it Murphy at the moment, but you could change that to Chohan. Patterson could play over Joel Davies, but I suspect that they'll go with Joel especially if Abbott is out, they'll go with Joel. As I don't think they'll go with Mitch Perry. But yeah, the Sydney Sixers lineup is pretty almost self-explanatory at the moment, other than one or two potentials given the Australia squad and who they hold over. Warner. Now this is the squad that almost made me do this video. And you'll see why in a second here. If you look at this and you're going, they have a lot of guys out. I suspect Sanger's going to be out. I don't suspect he gets back for the BBL start, given when the injury happened. And I also think he's just out of favour compared to everyone else. And I don't think they'll open with Gilks. I think they'll give Constas his chance. So David Warner and Constas, Bancroft at 3, Gilks at 4, Ollie Davies at 5, Sam Billings at 6. You could also just simply see this as well. Sam Billings, and then this would be Matthew Gilks. I think, yep, there you go. Daniel Sams at 7, Chris Green, Nathan McAndrew, Tanvir Sanger, and Wezega. I've also ruled out Lockie Ferguson for the start, given he's pushing for round 1, but there's also injury concerns there. But that would be a simple swap with Agar, which doesn't actually impact this analysis in any way, shape, or form, because he just adds to the bowler slot. Wolf Salzman is a batter only at the moment, not bowling in Prem cricket, which alludes to an injury that they haven't really talked about, which is kind of annoying, but I think that they go Constas over him as a batter only anyway. And they don't really need, they've got Sams, Green, McAndrew, Sanger, and Wezega. That's 5. They maybe need another bowler here as well, so maybe they go with a bowler. But Daniel Sams at 6 is a little bit iffy as well. So maybe they just let Ollie Davies roll the arm over a little bit. And that is a thing with the likes of Nick Maddison's injury, a broken finger in Prem cricket. It does mean that the bowling slot is a little bit iffy. So I think Ollie would be almost in my side. If this was the named 11, Ollie would almost be on my bench batter slot if Sydney Thunder had an early double. That's how confident I would be that he'd potentially get an over or 2. But yeah, it looks like Daniel Sams, Chris Green, McAndrew, Sanger, and Wezega / Lockie Ferguson will be the ones that get the overs, as they don't really have much all-rounder stocks at the Sydney Thunder at the moment, given that Salzman is injured and Sams is their only other all-rounder. Maybe they sign another domestic all-rounder that would help out their cause, but there isn't too many, I don't think, currently around the domestic scene in Australia. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there about just going through a sort of semi news update, but semi also just going through the projected round 1 sides. I know a lot of people will have sort of differences. Comment your sort of differences or the projected 11s that you have in the comments below. And I guess if you did enjoy that video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on if you're watching on YouTube. And then if you're also listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a 5-star rating so that I know that you guys will like it and that I can upload more for you guys in the future. But anyway, I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.